Man, would you look at those? That's awesome. I mean, I would ask, can you believe somebody was throwing those away? But I think the answer to that question is yes. I can believe somebody was throwing that away. So anyway, yeah, they're a bit dirty, but they're like, the metal is nearly perfect. It's not like they're scratched or anything. It's not like they've really been abused. They're just dirty. So, got a bit of sunlight in them, and now I'm gonna clean them out. Yeah, that's a pretty good score. If you'd asked me 10 years ago would I pick something like this up out of somebody's trash, I would have said no. But time and age proves. Alright, so I gotta say, I've always tried to make videos that hopefully appeal to guys like me who are kind of at home, although I've sort of taken my operation a little bit further than the usual home guy. But having said that, this here is awesome. You know, and I used to make a few more kinds of videos like this where I just sort of talked about stuff that I kind of felt like was important to me, although still relevant to, you know, working on guitars and stuff like that, and kind of in keeping with the theme of my channel. But I'll tell you what, so this week, the reason you haven't seen the conclusion of this yellow Strat that I've been working on, that my buddy painted himself and is just sort of having me put back together for him, is because I have a kid that's home sick right now with strep throat. So obviously I'm looking after her as my primary job as a stay-home dad. I used to work IT for many years. But anyway, so I've been sort of bemoaning the fact that I've been stuck home with my 6-year-old who is sick, just right on the heels of 2 weeks of me having sort of a pretty awful cold. And, you know, so we took her to the doctor and figured out she had strep throat, and we got all the antibiotics and medication and everything like that. And so she's sort of on the mend today because she's been home for 4 days. Anyway, to advance the story here, today, you know, she was sort of full of energy, so I said, let's go have a bike ride. Well, I don't know exactly what time in the morning, but anyway, before the trash came to be picked up, so maybe around 10:30 or something like that. I said, well, let's go for a little bike ride up to the local convenience store, and we'll, you know, something to get out of the house for a few minutes. And on the way, like literally 4 or 5 doors down, I spotted these on top of somebody's trash can with probably some more stuff I should have grabbed. It looked like brand new in the box GFI plugs, like plug-in, but I thought, oh fuck, I don't really have any immediate use for those right now, but I have an absolute immediate use for these, and that is when I pull apart guitars. Typically what I've been doing is, like, if I'm refinishing a guitar, I have sort of something like this where all the screws and all the bits and everything just sort of gets tossed in. If you've watched my videos, you probably recognize this thing, you know, and then it sort of sits somewhere out of the way until I need those parts again. But I'll tell you what would absolutely be useful, and what I was thinking of just sort of making myself out of some wood I have kicking around, is something more like this. Right, so what my idea now is to line those at some point with something. and use them as absolutely totally useful, because that's just aluminum, right? Like, even if I wanted to, I could repaint these, but all I did was just tried to clean all the grease and sort of major amount of dirt out of them. But fuck, now I can totally use these, and I don't even want to think about what you would have to pay for something like that. Or if you can just buy these separate. Like, because this is obviously out of a toolbox of some sort that's been thrown away. But anyway, I think the point is that when you do stuff like this as a hobby and you're trying to get together tools and you're trying to get together useful things for yourself, you have to, you know, if you're not made of money like me, you have to sort of be resourceful and keep your eyes open and realize that, you know, there's useful stuff all around you. And I'm not, you know, I'm not saying you should run out and start dumpster diving right away, but keep your eyes open, if nothing else. Anyway, I just thought that little anecdote was sort of funny and relevant, and I'll be back with putting the rest of this baby together here pretty shortly. So we'll see y'all soon. There's a bunch of stuff coming up, I promise. They're all over the place. Bunch of cool ones too. So, lots of stuff coming.